Am I the asshole for respecting my late wife's wishes about keeping her family out? My wife unfortunately passed away last year when our daughter was only 3 months old. It was very difficult to get through, but my little girl and I are keeping it together. My daughter is 16 months now, and there's been pressure from my wife's sister to let her side of the family see my daughter. The issue is my wife had absolutely no contact with her family since she was 18, so 16 years of not seeing them. Her home life was something she never wanted to talk about. It always made her upset, so I never pushed her to tell me. All I know is they were manipulative and abusive in some form. She left as soon as she was 18, changed her last name and never spoke to them again. 4 years ago she got into contact with her older sister, and she's the only person my wife allowed into our lives. By that I mean we met through video chat but never actually in person. We still maintained contact after my wife passed, and we met a couple times before and during my wife's funeral. My sister-in-law called me a few weeks ago. She mentioned her parents would really like to meet their granddaughter and want to start over. They didn't attend my wife's funeral because they knew she wouldn't want them to be there. One thing my wife always made clear is that she did not want them near our daughter. Ever. Telling my sil this, well, she got very upset. She said it's been years, and yes, her parents were awful people. Again, won't say exactly what they did, but losing their daughter has made them reflect on things. And they want to meet my daughter since my wife never gave them that chance. She's still trying to convince me, and so far I've said no. Each time I just feel more and more bad for denying them, but it's what my wife wanted. Her parents found my Facebook, pretty sure Sil might have told them, and I've gotten dozens of messages begging me to let my daughter know her mom's side of the family. And I shouldn't keep her from knowing her grandparents for past mistakes. None of them will leave me alone, and Sil has said a few times that I may be grieving losing a wife, but to have some empathy for them losing a child. Because right now I'm being too heartless for denying them the chance to meet the only piece of my wife they have left. I'm at my wit's end with this because I'm not sure if I am being an asshole or not. I don't know the whole reason why my wife never wanted to see them again. Even if I did though, I'd still like to honor her wish. The way they are being, however, makes it hard not to wonder if I am not the asshole. All I know is they were manipulative and abusive in some form. The best prediction of future behavior is past behavior. None of them will leave me alone. I'm at my wit's end with this because I'm not sure if I am being an asshole or not. You're getting a glimpse of their manipulative tactics. One thing my wife always made clear is that she did not want them near our daughter. Ever. Honor her wish. Heart. Not the asshole. Do not let them have anything to do with your daughter. The last thing you want is to allow them to have a relationship with your daughter, and then after a while you see exactly why your wife didn't want anything to do with them. Because depending where you live, if they have an established relationship with your daughter, they can go for grandparents' rights. As of right now they have no grounds. Cut the sil off to she's just giving you a taste of how toxic the rest of your wife's family are. Protect your child. Please block them. You are not the asshole by respecting your wife's wishes. Look up grandparents' rights. Depending on which state you're in, if you're in the US, you could be opening the door to that. Your late wife knew best. Keep your daughter away from them. Block them all. Oh wow, they're already being manipulative and not respecting your boundaries. Absolutely respect your wife's wishes and block them. Tell them you will let your daughter decide if she wants to meet them when she's old enough. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The fact that all of them are bombarding you with guilt trips and completely ignoring your boundaries shows you at least partially why your wife ran away from them and wanted nothing to do with them. Seems like Sil is just as bad as her parents. Maybe it's time to block all of them. Speaking from experience, nothing will stop a grandparent from carrying on the abuse they inflicted on their child. Whatever they did to your wife ceased all contact. That's enough reason to never let your daughter near them. For all you know, history could repeat itself. They could also take out your wife's escape out on her. Whatever they did lost them their daughter and granddaughter, that's all on them. My bastard grandfather came after me all the time because my dad was the black sheep. My parents took me and my sister away to save us from any further damage. And now consider if your wife was sexually abused by a family member. Still want to introduce your daughter to them? You would be the arsehole if you give in to them. Not the asshole. People don't estrange themselves from their families for no reason. Whatever your wife experienced from her parents was so bad that she not only cut contact but changed her name to distance herself from them. Even your sister-in-law acknowledges that her parents were awful people. Trust your wife on this, she knew these people better than you ever could. Block them, and if sister harasses, block her too. They were out of her life for a reason, whatever that may be. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. They are using your grief to try and manipulate you into doing something that they know your late wife didn't want. Block them. Block them all and forget about them. If they continue to harass you, go to the police. Not the asshole. Block them and continue to honor your wife's wishes. They clearly have not changed. The manipulative emotional game they are playing is pretty clear. And whatever you do, do not let the sister be alone with the baby. Ever. Not the asshole. Consider this. How they're acting now. This is them on their best behavior. Not the asshole. There's clearly a reason your late wife cut them off, and they clearly think now she's gone they can worm their way into seeing your daughter by guilt-tripping you whilst you're grieving. If it gets too much, block them and maybe even the sister. Not the asshole. You need to protect your daughter from your wife's horrible family. The fact that she is not here to discuss it is all the more reason to honor her wishes. Don't let them make you feel like the bad guy. Not the asshole. Even with this limited contact, they already sound manipulative. They've lost their daughter years ago when she changed her name and cut ties with them, but didn't try to get in touch until after her death? Seems to me they're just trying to weasel their way in. Take it from someone who doesn't have any contact with the family-in-law because they are manipulative borderlines. It's more hassle than it's worth. Every contact you would have in the future would be stressful and would hurt your memory of your wife. She made a very definite choice to shut them out, whatever the reason, and chose you as her family. Now it's up to you to choose to trust her judgment. Not the asshole. There's a reason they waited until your wife passed before reaching out. They knew there was no hope in hell she would allow them anywhere near your family. If the sister can't stop manipulating you, it might be time to stop the contact with her as well. I'm sorry for your loss. I hope you'll continue to honor your wife's wishes. Not the asshole. Think of it like this. Your wife's literal dying wish was for you to keep your daughter safe from people who had hurt your wife in some way. Keep them the fuck away forever. Not the asshole. They lost their daughter 16 years ago. Trust your wife. The trauma of what she experienced at their hands was so bad that she ran, and only looked back for long enough to warn you in order to protect your daughter from them. You don't owe these people anything. You have no history with them and no reason at all to trust them over your wife. If Sil can't get on board, cut her off too. I'm sorry for your loss. I wish you and your daughter all the very best. XO. Not the asshole. It sounds like they are really selfish and a narcissist. The way they tell you that you may have lost your wife but they lost their daughter just hit me. They haven't had contact with her for over 18 years and now that she's gone they suddenly want her daughter in their life? Sounds like they're taking advantage of this situation. Definitely keep pushing them back. There's a good reason your wife never wanted them in her life and you should respect that and keep to her wishes. Not the asshole. Your wife not only left, she changed her surname, and went no contact for more than a decade. Honor her wishes. And I'm guessing the fact that no one would say what it is makes me think it's either severe physical or sexual abuse. Horrible. Not the asshole. There's a reason why your wife didn't want her family in her life. If you let them in your daughter's life, realize that, it'll be too late for regrets. Block them, keep them out, you have no obligations to them. Not the asshole. This is such a tough situation and I'm so sorry for your loss. You're doing a grand job. If you are happy to continue to honor the wishes of your wife, then do so and ask them to stop contacting you. You may want to revisit the issue when your daughter is older. You can explain everything and discuss whether she would want to have contact, but that would have to be her decision and once she is capable of understanding the complexity of the situation. Based on the lack of detail of what happened, I'd say you're completely within your rights to ask them to stop pestering you and to say no. Your wife would be proud of you and keep going. You're being an excellent parent. Best wishes. Not the asshole. Block the Sil. Block them all. Respect your wife and put your child first. Best wishes. Not the asshole. Go no contact with Sil as well. She said they lost a child. They lost her already when she was 18 and left because of their actions. Do not feel bad. Keep yourself and your daughter safe and healthy and away from them all. Honor her wishes. There's a reason she didn't want her child exposed to that. Her home life was something she never wanted to talk about. Her parents were awful people. Again, won't say exactly what they did. Well, since no one will say what the issue was, I'd assume the worst before allowing them access to my daughter. Not the asshole. NTA. Time to block each and every one of them. Your wife made her feelings clear. You only owe her opinion any consideration in your daughter's life. It must be especially tough because you don't know exactly what happened that made your wife turn her back on her family, but that doesn't mean you should be giving these people a second chance, especially considering how they are being pushy and not respecting your choices as a parent now. Cut all contact. Not the asshole. It's a huge red flag that none of them accept your no as an answer. They're all guilt-tripping you, manipulating and pressuring you, and that's completely wrong. If they had changed, they would have accepted your decision and left their contact details to you, in case you later change your mind. And then left you alone. Instead, with each no, they seem to get more aggressive, which is alarming. Based on that alone, these people have not changed, they've just laid low for a few years. Block them all, even your SIL. And if they continue harassing you, maybe contact a lawyer, to see if there are steps you can take to protect yourself and your daughter. Not the asshole. You are respecting the will of your wife, my condolences by the way, by keeping these horrible people away from your daughter. I don't know what they did, but if it's come to this, it must be awful, so I'd say block them and make it impossible for them to reach out. Not the asshole. Document everything and get legal advice. Look into grandparents' rights access where you live. Lock down your social media and let friends and family know you're in a harassment situation, so to limit photos and what they share on social media. Let your medical and childcare providers know that they are not to share information or access. Let local police and CPS know you are being harassed, just in case they call in a fake report. Get security cameras. You've told them no and your wife was no contact. They're not listening. They may escalate, so protect yourself. Sorry for your loss. Not the asshole. I seriously doubt they're repentant for their actions and just see this as a power play. Another victim for them. It may be the case you also tell your sister-in-law that you'll go no contact with her if she keeps pushing this, and then block them all if they do. Tell her you won't risk your daughter becoming a victim like her and your wife. Not the asshole. People don't cut contact and change their names at 18 without very strong reasons. Block all the in-laws from being able to contact you. Get a will sorted, making sure you have a guardian for your little girl and specifying they are not to have access or custody should something happen to you. I'm sorry for your loss. Not the asshole. Do not let her family meet your daughter. If she was this adamant, respect her wishes. You're doing a great job already. Don't give in to them. You may not know the details, but just based on her never introducing and has specifically said not to let them in your lives, they have good reasons. Not the asshole. Please have your will written out as soon as possible with explicit information regarding your child's custody. Should, God forbid, something happen to you. Not the asshole. Your late wife was the one who grew up and spent 18 years with them and knew better. If she said she doesn't want any contact, there's probably a big reason. Not the asshole. They lost their daughter 16 years ago. She left them and never looked back. They are only trying to guilt you because 1. You don't know the history properly and they can try to pull the wool over your eyes about their behavior. 2. They see you as the weak link to what they want. And they are using your own grief to fuel their agenda. Do not let them in. They are preying on you in your weakest moments. Just as they did your wife when she was a child. First, I'm so very sorry for your loss. You are definitely not the asshole. They're being so pushy and aren't respecting their late daughter's wishes or your decision to uphold them. And this is them on their best behavior as they're trying their hardest to convince you. That's very telling. You're doing the right thing. Block them if you have to. Get a lawyer. I think it might be time to start legal steps to get rid of them from your daughter's life. Like you said, your wife never said what they did. That is all you need to know in this case with this context. Silence can speak volumes. Not the asshole. Your wife made as clear that her family are toxic by not seeing them since she was 18. Please honor her wishes. She knew what her parents were like with her and she does not want that for her own daughter. Stay strong. Block contact with them all. I am so sorry for your loss. Not the asshole. Sorry for your loss. Please protect your little girl. Your wife had valid reasons for staying away for 16 years and even your SIL acknowledged the pain your wife's parents caused her. Tell her you are sorry but you will honor your wife's wishes. Then block the in-laws. Tell your SIL she is on thin ice and if she keeps pushing you will have to block her too. Clearly your wife let her back in, so your SIL would be an exception your wife would have understood you honoring. Not the asshole. If what they did was so bad your wife changed her last name, didn't speak with them the past 16 years. And she only started speaking with her sister 4 years ago and you never met her. 100% not in the wrong. That is definitely not something someone does over things that are forgivable. They want you to hand over your daughter while no one will even tell you what their mistakes were that caused your wife so much trauma? Keep that baby so far away from these monsters. They have clearly not changed since they're manipulating and bullying you. You're doing the right thing. Cut these people off and block them every way you can. Your daughter doesn't need grandparents who will damage her. Not the asshole. NTA, and they are showing you now what kind of people they are. They are harassing you so that you will bend to their will. Major red flags here. Block them all and forget them. They have nothing to offer you or your kid but hurt and heartache. Not the asshole. They want a do-over baby since the first one didn't turn out how they wanted, or stopped letting them abuse her, so they want to do the same to your little girl. Block them all, everyone with a connection to them. Disappear. Not the asshole. Your wife had what sound like very valid reasons for not wanting her family in her life. If she never wanted them to have any contact with her daughter, I would uphold that. The SIL says they are grieving a daughter, but they lost her a long time ago. If the daughter mattered to them, they wouldn't have treated her the way they did. It's too late now to try and mend things. Stick to your guns and tell them where to go. When your daughter is grown, she can choose to meet them if she wishes. I'm sorry for the loss of your wife's sad face. If it took a dead daughter to be sorry and reflect on their past actions, and it is a big if, they might not be sorry at all. Then they sound like they shouldn't be with your daughter. They aren't good role models at all. Not the asshole. Facebook offers the block feature for a reason. Apply liberally. Including SIL, who it sounds like has become toxic as well. Might also want to do what you can to hide your address and other contact info from them. Not the asshole. Recently we found out my mother's birth giver died. We had gone full no contact years ago. We did not feel sad. The birth giver has facilitated horrific abuse to my mum and her sister, and the damage that caused to them is still being dealt with 40 years later. If someone cannot even discuss the abuse that caused them to completely cut off and remove themselves from their family, it's safe to assume it's bad enough that 16 years later the abusers haven't changed. They have just aged. You have had enough trauma in your life, and your wife successfully stopped a pattern of abuse and horror. It's an honor to your wife to continue her work so your family doesn't have to repeat this trauma further down the line. Good luck to you. Not the asshole. Ensure your in-laws have no way of knowing where you are and block them everywhere. Get legal advice if this behavior continues. It is harassment. Inform your sister-in-law that she either drops it or loses contact with you and your daughter also. Your wife said never for a reason. Your daughter may be at risk. Nobody's feelings are worth risking that. Not the asshole. Do not let them pressure you or make you feel bad for fulfilling your wife's wishes. If she were here now, she wouldn't want to have contact with them, so treat the situation as if she were still with you. I'm in a similar situation myself, and I've actually discussed with my husband that if anything should ever happen to me, that my mother is to have absolutely no contact with my son, ever. Good luck. I hope they stop harassing you.